Welcome to Dying to Know, where we open up about everything that comes with losing a loved one.
Because the only thing worse than death is not being able to talk about it.
We're your bereavement babes, Leah and Rachel, and today we're diving into birthdays part 2. Hi, Rach.
Hey, Leah.
How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. I mean, it's kind of weird to ask you that we're in the same clothes, so it's just part 2 of the same episode.
Part 2.
Yes. So we're diving into birthdays, and this perspective is coming from us celebrating our birthdays without our dads being around. So for me, my dad died in June, and then my birthday was 10 months later. So I think time had did a number on me that I didn't feel any difference with him not being around. Not that I didn't feel it, but it just wasn't as impactful.
Was your dad typically around for your birthdays? Like, he always give the phone call, or did you always celebrate with your family? Or was it pretty typical for you not, I guess, to be celebrating together?
Yeah, good question. So I feel like not in the 30s. It didn't really, I kind of did my own thing with like celebrations. So I think that also made an impact. And I feel like my dad was the type of person, like, because my mom was calling, he was the one in the background. Like, tell your daughter happy birthday kind of thing. So it wasn't as like deepful or as impactful. Like, I went to Miami that year. I was with a friend. We were on the beach, like, kind of doing my own thing there. So I didn't really like see it. But I know for you and your family, you guys had a lot of birthdays that were pretty close and back to back after the passing of your dad.
Yeah, so my dad passed away in January. And for me, it was 4 months after. My birthday was in April. But for my little sister who was turning 21, it was exactly 1 month after.
Milestone.
Yeah, and it was her 21st. I did ask her, I was like, is it okay if I talk about your birthday on here?
Okay,
and
good.
she said yes. And I asked her if there's anything you want me to make sure I say. And she said, celebrating and grief do not mix when you're drunk. And they definitely don't, because I remember my 21st birthday. Like, Jersey girl, I was in AC. Like, it's something barely can remember but can't forget either. And that's all I wanted for her. I wanted her to have her 21 moment. So I remember convincing my family. I was like, I'm going to get her a little hotel room for all of her friends so they can have fun. 2 hours after I dropped her.
Wait, how long was her birthday after his passing?
Exactly 1 month.
Wow, 30 days.
Yeah,
okay.
No, exactly 1 month. But I wanted to still give her this like moment in her life.
She deserves that.
I brought her to her hotel room, like blindfolded her, surprised her. Within 1 to 2 hours, I'm getting a phone call of her drunk crying me saying, pick me up. I don't want to be here. And then I'm like, oh my God, I just like made everything worse. She ended up staying. She partied it out. Her friends were super cute with decorating her room and really being there for her. They had like her little shirts.
Yeah.
But from her point of view, it was way too soon. It was too much. It was her grieving, her letting her friends, like, I mean.
Wait a minute, rewind real quick. So it's her 21st birthday, exactly 30 days after her dad had died, and you had set up a hotel party.
Yes, but a small one.
No, it's fine. I just want to make sure I got the details right.
No, because we did go back and forth with, like, my family and I, because I was just like, we're like, do we just do something small in the house?
Okay,
and, like, for me, I was just like, no, like, that's not how you do a 21st
birthday. Yeah.
You do it with your friends. So I reached out to her friends. They said they were going to do something for her anyway. I was like,
nice.
Her birthday was that weekend.
Okay.
So, yeah, we planned this, like, little moment for her and her friends, but I don't know if she regrets it or like if she didn't have any type of fun, because I mean, great stories and TikToks came out of this birthday.
Okay.
But she did, like, for her, it was a lot. And she's like, all I did was cry. All I did was like drink way too much. And she was just like, it was a lot. Like, it was a lot for it to only have been 1 month out.
Okay. And when this phone call, like when you got this phone call, is this something that you're only on the phone with, like, talking her through it and just saying like it's okay to celebrate, or is it like big sister moment, I'm pulling up?
I'm not gonna lie, I was like, she's drunk, and I'm sorry, but no, I didn't, because I was half asleep. I did call back and I was like, is she okay? And I was just like, just let her sleep it off. Okay. They all ended up passing out, going to bed, and then I did pick her up in the morning, and she just kind of said, she was like, because we had all been sleeping at our mom's house, all haven't like left each other's sides, so it was just a little bit of like a culture shock. She hadn't left our sides yet, and they had their fun, they had their moment, but yeah, she was ready to come home very early in the morning. Yes.
Okay. And I mean, not that I was ever in your sister's position in my birthday, but crying on your birthday.
I mean,
I've cried on birthdays before, not because of my father, but I know that emotion, and like it happening on the like worst day ever. So
yeah,
kudos to her for sticking it through and hanging out.
No, I hope it's something that she was at least a little surprised and had some happiness out of. But I think maybe it was more like not surprised. We should have talked it out with her a little bit more.
Yeah, like prepped her for it a little bit.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So for Lizzie, it was her 21st birthday. Do you think since I mean, in the grand scheme of things, 32 isn't like that always like big milestone birthday. Do you think that had anything to do with you not maybe feeling as sad or as aware that he isn't there?
Yeah, I think the fact that like birthdays aren't super huge in the immediate family, like obviously we call each other on our birthdays and wish everyone a happy birthday, but it's not like turning 10 where like we have to celebrate together.
It's not a card for 32.
Yeah, it's not a card for 32. And we all live in the same house by then. And I hadn't moved yet, so I was still around like the family and not back in New York. But I think the fact that it wasn't a milestone definitely had a big thing to do with it. I think the timing, it had been 10 months. So I had did a couple of things. We had went through the holidays. 2 of my other brothers already had a birthday that were months after my dad had already passed. So I think that probably had something to do with it. And just the fact, like I was saying earlier, my mom would be more of the one to like initiate the phone call. It's not like I got like a special text message from my dad. I even remember one story of like my brother Ben, it was his birthday. And I think he maybe had called my dad like days later or a couple days later after his birthday and was like, Daddy, I didn't hear from you. And he was like, boy, I know when you was born, I was there. Like, it was never like this big thing to make our birthdays a big deal. He was like, I cut umbilical cords. I raised you. I didn't need to like be there for your birthday. And then also I did travel too. And I love a beach. That's my like secret place. So I think those combinations of time had passed, it wasn't a milestone, and I had took myself away from where I was currently staying, that it probably helped eased it, that I didn't really connect with those emotions. But regarding your sister, your birthday was just like 3 months later after your dad had passed, and it was milestone for you too.
No, it was my 30th birthday. It was very soon after. I don't know if it was a milestone as much that affected me. I got really lucky. My cousin took care of me like crazy, and she took me to Costa Rica. That we have our like little 30th traditions where we take each other somewhere.
Oh, nice.
So like you said, it was great to be on a beach. It was a sanctuary. I had my cousin with me who like is just like the safety net to begin with.
Oh, nice.
But I do feel like it was my first time. It was like I go on the plane, and like for me it wasn't the birthday so much. It was like not having my dad ask me how my flight went and not making the phone calls like, hey, I landed safely. And I feel like it was my first time not feeling like I had the safetiness of my dad around me anymore.
Okay, yeah.
And that really freaked me out. And I feel like my poor cousin had to deal with me being like the biggest chicken, although she'll say that I'm a chicken always. But I feel like it hit me a lot more where I was more nervous to do the excursions or more nervous to like leave with it just being us, because I felt like I didn't have someone back at home worrying about me if I was safe or not. I mean, I know that my family like always will be there, but it was the first moment where I'm like, damn, I don't have my dad to like go to for those phone calls or go to make sure if we're safe or to let us know that we're acting too crazy.
Yeah.
So it was like a lot of wake up calls. I also feel like this was before therapy. So it was a lot of like anxiety that I didn't understand, a lot of feelings that like I didn't get like what I was feeling because it was just everything everywhere all at once. And like I didn't know how to explain it otherwise. And I also didn't want to ruin any of my cousin's time either because like, I'm so sad. But
still a vacation at the end of the day. Yeah.
But I'm so grateful for everything she did for me and how much patience she had with me always and like forever.
Yes. Shout out to her.
Yeah. No, honestly though, shout out to her for really just like making my 30th birthday so special for how hard of a time it was like going through and like just making sure I still had the 30th birthday to like look back on and be so happy about.
Yeah. And I think you make a really good point, which I didn't even connect the dots with. Like we are daughters who had great relationships with our fathers.
Yeah.
And being a girl, I know you're the oldest, I'm the youngest, like having a father is like that protector and the one who looks
like,
out
no
for
one
you.
Cares if I landed. And I mean, I texted my mom and everything, but it was always a phone call to my dad like, hey, like we got here, we're good, we're safe. And it was the first moment of like, oh my God, like this safety net is gone. Like I have to make sure I'm getting safe like by myself, it felt like. So I feel like it was definitely like I lost this like protector, this man that like always had my back for everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It was definitely like, it was scary for a second. There was a lot of scary moments, but I'm glad I did everything. Like we still did the 4-wheels.
You feel like you kind of took a deep breath and really like lived in the moment and enjoyed yourself.
And then had my cousin by my side to make sure if like we fell, we were falling together. Or if we're in the jungle, we're in it together. And like it was just also like a reassurance that I still always have that person with me.
Gotcha.
And as much as I hate to say it, I had my bird moment on this trip where...
What's a bird moment?
You know how we're like, they're not birds or next...
okay.
I did have my bird moment where we landed and there was this like one bird that always just seemed to like be somewhere. And I'm like...
That's your dad like following you through this process.
I feel like, I know I'll eat those words in later episodes, but I do feel like I had my little mini bird moment on that trip.
Gotcha. I really like that point you made, though, about girls and dads and protector. I never thought of that for a birthday.
Nah.
But I guess because he texted you, like, when you landed and stuff.
Like, I feel like it wasn't the birthday. It wasn't even the fact that I was turning 30. It was the fact that, like, I don't have anyone who, like, wants to take care of... Like, I don't know. Like, I just didn't have, like, my dad. Like, that was the moment where I was like, I don't have my dad anymore. Like...
Yeah. I mean, it's such a pivotal time in life, like, because it's like I'm starting a new decade, right? Like, you're ending your 20s, you're going into your 30s. You have a healthy relationship with your father, which they say is a girl's first love.
Yeah.
And our protector, you're not a married woman. So it was like, who else would be looking to make sure I land safely or I make it safely to where I'm going? So I see those little, like, reminders and what you were saying.
Yeah, and I feel like that's when, and like, I feel like that's what my cousin is for me. Like, she is my like emergency contact. She's the one who like I go to for everything. So it was just like, it was like, thank God I had her to lean on because it was really fucking hard. And I also just not knowing like what anxiety was or what depression like truly is. I feel like it was hard as fuck. It was like so hard. So like I'm just grateful that I had her to get me through everything on that trip.
Absolutely. Very thankful for people who hold our hands through bereavement and grief.
Yes.
Top tier. Yes. Today's episode is dedicated to the memory of my grandfather, Herman Daniel Baker, who is missed every day. Again, we're your bereavement babes, Leah and Rachel, and we'll see you on the other side.